Ladies and gentlemen, it is once again Dr. Remy LeBeau coming at you from the X-Lair. And today I have once again Mr. James Proudstar, aka Warpath, in his modern Warpath uh, form, as produced by Bowen Designs. This statue came out last month, March of 2013. It's currently April of 2013 for those future watchers. Hello, future watchers! I hope they came out with hoverboards finally. Um, just as a quick aside, this is the second video I've shot of Mr. Proudstar because I am trying to improve the quality of these videos. At first, I was shooting HD, but the the computer was like dropping frames, and the audio was atrocious. So I got a mic, and then that made the encoding worse, which is silly, just because it was a bad encoding program. And then I decided, I'm just going to get a whole new webcam, and the webcam is going to, of course, be Logitech, and it's going to come with its own encoding software. So it's going to be, uh, you know, it's going to be a better quality. And lo and behold, here it is. I'm shooting in 720p. I was going to shoot in 1080p, but even that was a little too much for my computer to handle. So I decided to just stick to 720p, but the quality seems to be pretty good. And I hope you guys now enjoy the better quality videos, both in visual as well as audio quality. Um, because I really want you guys to enjoy sort of these introductions to these statues that I produce, because I love these statues, and I want you guys to really see what it is about them that makes them so lovable. It's not just because like I'm a hoarder and I collect whatever comes my way. No, I'm a very particular collector, and I like to uh, collect very particular statues that I feel are of the best quality, uh, representing the X-Men in the best way possible. Because I love the X-Men. I grew up with the X-Men. Like, um, collecting these statues has sort of been the next level of like me sort of honoring my love for these characters, as well as sort of indulging in that love. Um, and so this is like adult collector me, um, showing you guys like what is out there and what you could potentially also get if you are so inclined, given that you may also be a hardcore X-Men fan and not just a person seeking out a collectible just to maybe turn a profit in the future, because that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate if that's all you do in this hobby. This hobby is about expressing our love for these characters, and here I am expressing my love for James Proudstar, aka Warpath. Um, so this statue was produced. It was put up for sale last year, probably I don't know, early last year, maybe like Mayish. Um, so generally, the statues that are put up for sale are take about roughly 9 to 10 months to actually be released to the public. Um, and be mass produced essentially. So Mr. Proudstar here was put up as a website exclusive. No, actually no, he's not a website exclusive. The variant statue of this statue, which is the X-Force version of Warpath, was a website exclusive. Excuse me. And a website exclusive means that it is sold exclusively through Bowen Designs website. Um, and no other retailers offer it. So if there isn't a website exclusive, and you are a fan of a particular character that is solicited via that sort of channel of selling, I would suggest jumping on it, because those tend to be sort of more hard to find in the long run in the secondary market. Um, so the Warpath, the X Force version of this, I think there was maybe like half of the run of this one, for that one. Like, so this one has an edition size of 500, and that one I think is like 200 and something. So that one's extremely limited, a website exclusive, and it's going to be hard to find in the future. So if you like Warpath and you like the X Force Warpath and you like Bowen Designs, you should try to get that statue now. Of course, if you're watching this from the future, hello, future people again. That's gonna be hard. I'm gonna say it's gonna be hard, and I apologize for that. I hate when statues become impossible to get. So those of you that haven't gotten the X-Force version, get it. This one's actually first thing I want to show you is it's number 29 of 500, and you can see it actually on my blog. There's like close-ups of this. But what's really cool about ordering through the website through Bowen Designs, which is pretty much how I order statues, like Bowen Design statues. I order them from the website, and I have a collectors club um, membership because so the collectors club membership costs $25, but it gives you 20% off your order throughout the entire year that the membership is active. And so in just one statue you get that money back, so it's totally worth it to join the collectors club. But another benefit of ordering through the website, well, a few benefits. One is that they have excellent customer service at Bowen Designs. Like, the people that work there are super nice. Shout out to the workers at Bowen Designs. What's up? You guys are great. In case you're watching this, but you're probably not, but in case you are. Uh, to your guaranteed quality, pretty much. Like, if something gets screwed up in the delivery of the statue, like, they'll take care of it, and they're pretty good about like taking things back if maybe there was like a flaw in the production, or even just giving like a partial refund. Anyway, they're super accommodating, and they take responsibility for any problems that they might have on their side. So it's totally worth it to order through them. You don't have to deal with like online retailers that might be a little shady, or especially eBay sellers that you know they can be hit and miss. Sometimes you might get like an amazing eBay seller, but as has happened with me, as has happened with many online uh, some of my online forum friends that like to collect these statues as well. Like, it, you can get some pretty terrible experiences through eBay sellers. So long story short, ordering from Bowen Designs a really good idea if you want to guarantee you want a guaranteed like positive experience and a high probability of actually getting what you ordered without too much hassle. Um, and so and of course the final great thing about ordering from them is that you can actually, if Randy Bowen has sculpted a part or all of a particular statue, he offers the option to actually have him sign the statue, which is nice, because in the long run it's going to be really cool to have had like the guy sort of to essentially responsible to the creation of these statues, actually having touched, the particular piece, and there being proof of that via the signature. I don't know. I think it's cool. A lot of collectors think it's cool, and if you do too, I would suggest becoming a collectors club member, and also ordering through their website all the various statues that you might be interested in that are forthcoming releases. And one last thing on that, as a Collectors Club member, you gain access to Collectors Club exclusives, which are not sold anywhere online and are generally given like a very limited run and are very, very exclusive. So, cable, the retro cable on a Sentinel head was a Collectors Club exclusive. Um, Recently, they put out a clear Iceman statue, which is super awesome. I can't wait to get it. Um, and that was a Collectors Club exclusive. And when they put it up for sale, you couldn't join the Collectors Club and then order it. You had to have already have been a Collectors Club member to have gotten the ability to order that statue. So I don't know. I just don't see any drawback to becoming a Collectors Club member and ordering from Bowen Designs directly. I think it's a great idea. Anyway, I ordered this guy through Bowen Designs. The quality came out perfect, exactly as I expected it to. Um, this statue is available at every other retailer in existence, both online as well as like local comic book shops. And it's cool to get statues from local comic book shops, to support your local shops. I'm all for that. Um, I guess for me, I don't really have a local comic book shop, so it makes sense for me to go through Bowen Designs And if you're the sort of person that is just generally buys stuff online exclusively, then Bowen Designs the is the place you want to get the actual statues produced by Bowen Designs. That is the last thing I'm going to say about that. I know I'm just like Bowen Designs guy, right? I know I need to move on to Bowen Designs statue of Warpath. Super, super cool. Okay, so James Proudstar, he was originally introduced as a Hellion, which was sort of Emma Frost's team of young mutants that she was mentoring. And they were like the adversaries to the New Mutants. Emma Frost, this was before she had sort of made her turn and kind of had her grand epiphany and became, more sort of in line with the philosophy of Xavier. Um, and so her students, they tended to, be kind of villainous in a sense. And I think the thing that was driving James's villainy at the time was the fact that his brother Thunderbird, who was one of the mutants that Xavier recruited, um, that debuted in Giant Size X-Men #1, including Sunfire and Banshee and Storm. It was also like I think the second appearance of Wolverine or the third appearance of Wolverine. Um, Nightcrawler first appeared in Giant Size X-Men #1. So that was like a central issue where all these awesome characters were introduced. Thunderbird actually died a couple of issues later. And James has always kind of had a chip on his shoulder about that. I don't remember the particulars of the story. I need to go back and read a lot of these issues, but I'm pretty sure that he sort of blamed Xavier for his brother's death, and so Emma was able to manipulate him into being part of the Hellions, and eventually, he goes through his own sort of philosophical transformation, and the point at which I was introduced to him was in X Force, the Rob Liefeld X Force, X Force Volume 1, released in the mid 90s at the same time as Jim Lee's X Men #1, Volume 2, X Men Volume 2, #1. Right before all those guys, including McFarlane, all of them left, and they formed Image. Um, so Liefeld, Rob, drew like 7 or 8 issues of X Force, and James Proudstar was one of the central characters in that team. Continued to be one of the central characters in that team for years. Things changed. I think this guy Adam Polina came in and he kind of changed things as far as like the overall designs of the characters. Like he cut James's hair and like the costumes were completely different, but um, so basically, like James has gone through a lot of sort of changes throughout the years, but in the end, he actually wound up joining the X-Men themselves and becoming a core member of that group. Um, but beyond that, so that's where you finally see him in this form. This is like within the last 5 to 8 years or something, post decimation, where mutants were reduced to only 200 mutants via the Scarlet Witch's like no more mutants proclamation. Uh, so in reaction to that time, uh, because there were a lot of elements in the world that were out to actually kill the remaining mutants, of which there were only like less than 200. Cyclops commissioned Wolverine to form this X-Force team, which would be like a Black Ops team. James Warpath became a part of that team. So at the same time that he was sort of donning this outfit, he was also, doing like sort of the Black Ops operations at night, which were actually intended to sort of eradicate the elements that were trying to eradicate the mutants uh, through sort of fatal means. Like they were killing those that were trying to kill them, essentially. James eventually sort of had his own, moment of clarity and left the team. I'm glad because, he's always sort of been he's an American Indian, and at his heart, at his center, there's like a peace, both sort of spiritually as well as philosophically, that he would like to sort of that he that kind of drives him, but also is sort of reflected in the way that he engages in battle and engages as a member, as a warrior, as a mutant warrior. Um, so I like that happened. He was then featured prominently in X-Men Volume 3, the X-Men series that ended actually recently, in which, I guess Marvel was trying to get the mutants to be more involved with the rest of the Marvel universe. Storm led that team, and Colossus was in their Psylocke, and James was one of the central characters. So James has actually been like a central, prominent character throughout the last few years in both X Force and the X Men. This is the outfit that he's worn throughout that time and still wears today, even though they've sort of put him they've subordinated him to like a lot of what's going on with the all new X-Men and like all the stuff that happened post AVX. Like he's sort of taken like a back seat to the central stuff, but I'm sure they'll bring him back in some very prominent way very soon. Um, anyway, so all that was meant to sort of illustrate like the importance of James Proudstar. Now let's look at the actual like statue itself. That is the point of this video. Um, excellently done. So the base is this sort of elongated X base, which is reminiscent of the sort of the original X bases that was a common element of most of the original X-Men statues produced by Bowen Designs. But recently, Randy decided to sort of elongate the base in order to allow for like wider stance poses by certain characters. Specifically, Cyclops. The three versions of Cyclops that were recently released, which were X Factor, Modern, Astonishing X-Men Cyclops, and the original X-Men Cyclops statue. All three of those were digitally sculpted, and the legs were so far apart that I guess the base needed to be elongated as well. Um, so now I guess Randy has decided, okay, now that I have this base, I'm going to use it for other characters, which makes sense. So he used it for James. Works out really nice. It's got a black overall design with some like kind of silvery exposed wires here in the middle, which is very cool. This could be like some sort of platform in the danger room or something. It's got like the red element as well within the X, which is very nice. Base, super nice, works for me. Um, you've got like this really cool detail along the boots, which have kind of like a futuristic look to them. Sort of like they kind of look like something that would have come out of maybe like Back to the Future Part Two. When Marty goes into the future and everything's kind of like kind of of this sort of quality, kind of cartoony, kind of plasticky, but also sort of technologically advanced and kind of beyond our reach in some way. Anyway, um, I'm assuming like this design is meant to somehow enhance his ability to sort of maybe jump around, run really quick, use his super strength, like basically be a superhero. Like obviously superheroes need super costumes that complement both their power and help them to use their powers in a more comfortable way. That's just my speculation. In the end, it probably just looks really cool, and that's sufficient for that's a sufficient justification for its existence. Cool, thumbs up to that. Good job, Marvel. Good job, Randy Bowen. Um, I really love these kneecap like knee guards, which are kind of strange and for some reason work really well. Again, like they just sort of they're an accent to the costume that kind of it kind of brings him out of the real world and puts him into like the superhero world. Works for me, very nice. I love these sort of like the red parts of the costume that end in these like these four spikes on his chest and the front of his costume. Like I love that detail of the costume. I think that sort of defines this costume as like and makes it like super interesting and like kind of visually captivating. Uh, they did it in like a matte red with like some black shading, which looks really nice. The blue parts, I love that the blue parts were kind of done like in this glossy, like dark blue with like black highlights. Um, I don't know, it's kind of cool because it kind of makes it like look like like I don't know, like a sort of unique kind of material. Maybe leather, maybe some sort of like leather with some like elastic element mixed into it, um, just to make him cool but also comfortable. And maybe warm as well. You know, he might be fragile when it comes to temperature. I don't know. The guy grew up in a desert, didn't he? On a reservation? Aren't reservations generally on warm areas and deserts? I might be completely wrong and completely ignorant. I might be coming off as completely ignorant. I apologize, all the Native American folks that might be watching this video. Let me move on to more elements of the statue. The very cool belt. I love the X. I think originally the red parts weren't going to be put in, but like folks online let Randy know that he needed to include that, and he did. Uh, One thing about Randy Bowen, he's like very responsive to the fans on statueforums.com. I'm sorry, statuemarvels.com. Statueforum.com is a very cool forum for discussing all sorts of statues. Statuemarvels.com is where Randy Bowen tends to frequent, and that's generally where he interacts with the fans and gives and gets feedback from us and asks us questions and uh, and previews things that might be coming, and actually reveals like finished products. It's a really great place to interact with the guy, and just a cool place all around. Um, and I remember that it was mentioned by some fans that the red needs to be in there in the belt, as well as like the mask wasn't red initially, so that was changed as well. Um, so so great place to interact with Randy Bowen. He's super receptive, and you can tell by elements of the statue that because of that, like the statue is probably one of the best statues that could have ever been produced of this character. So kudos to everyone involved. Kudos, my friends. Um, so continuing on with elements of the statue. So like the trim on the blue is kind of like a metallic kind of aqua, which I thought was an interesting choice and works really well. I don't know, it's just another detail of the statue that just kind of pops and makes the character even more interesting to look at. Um, the arms done excellently, super muscular with lots of veins popping out, and the skin tone is kind of has like a reddish hue, which is good because he's an American Indian, and that quality of his ethnicity needs to be captured in the statue. Unfortunately, the Kotobukiya Warpath did not have that. He's like a very pale white, and that just didn't make sense. Um, Other fans have commented on that as being sort of a shortcoming of that statue. I'm very happy that Bowen Designs like actually captured this aspect of his character properly, because one needs to honor like the all the aspects of a character when creating a statue of him. You don't just want to create a statue and just kind of haphazardly throw things together and just kind of hope that all the details are in there. You want um, at least me as a fan, I want the producer of a statue to really think about the character, who the character is, and what are all the elements of the character that are important and sort of unique and need to be included in a statue that's going to cost $200 and is going to be sort of one of you know one of the few that will ever be created of a character like this. So kudos again, lots of kudos to Bowen Designs for capturing his ethnicity properly. So Randy Bowen mentioned online that he loves to make knives, and so he did a really good job with the two knives that are sort of the signature weapon of James. Um, James seems to wield these in a very skillful manner and on a regular basis. Um, at least for the last maybe 5 to 10 years. So of course you need to include them. They need to be unsheathed, and they need to be badass. And check mark on all those things for this with this statue. It it has everything. Uh, of course, I would expect nothing less from Bowen Designs. I know I'm in love with Bowen Designs. What can I say? All right, let's go to the back of the statue. Here you have the actual knife sheath. Um, and one small element that I think is very cool is that the straps that sort of connect the sheaths to the belt are crossed, so they make an X. I love when just sort of the X's are kind of snuck into the design of a statue. Um, even when they're not, even when they don't need to be, in order to sort of, again, reflect, what kind of character this is, which is, an X-Man. So kudos to them. That was actually done on the wristbands as well. You can see the X's on the wristbands as well. So that's very cool. More X-Men eye candy. Never hurts. Never hurts. I loves. I forever loves. My favorite detail and aspect of the statue is the head. The face, very simple, tough, well done, well sculpted, sheathed teeth, um, open mouth with, you know, unsheathed teeth, exposed teeth. Teeth are exposed. Looks good, looks tough, like he's about to kick some butt, but he's still kind of composed because he's got a strong center. The mask, very well done. Not too much, not too little, just right. We got the whited out eyes, which oftentimes folks don't like whited out eyes. I guess they want to see pupils, but for me, because this is an X-Man and because he's a superhero and because he's got power, I like the eyes to be whited out because it sort of captures that power in a subtle way, and I think that's important. Anytime you have a superhero, either statue or action figure or whatever, in a form that's going to be permanent and is unique, I think you should capture as much of the presence and the power that is unique to this sort of superhuman as possible. I'm a fan of whited out eyes, folks. If I could wipe my eyes out, I would, as long as I can, of course, keep my vision, because then that would suck if I lost my vision. I wouldn't be able to see my bebes statues. All right, and of course, the best part of the head is the hair. It's like a very dynamic sculpt of the hair. It's like flowing. It's not messy. It's not like it's not. Obviously, a lot of care was put into designing the hair, and it shows. And it just looks perfect. It looks great. It looks like he's out like maybe on some like plateau out in the middle of the desert, and he's about to like either kick some butt or have like a spiritual journey or something. But like obviously the wind's blowing, and it's kind of dramatic, and it's just again reflective of like of the the extra sort of thought and attention paid to the products that Bowen Designs puts out. They Randy et al. The entire team, like they all care about what they're doing, and every detail matters, and that is important to people like me and all the other collectors who cherish the characters and cherish the statues, and want them to be perfect. So thank you again. Thank you once again, Bowen Designs, for the 13,000 millionth time. Um, what's really cool about this statue, Randy Bowen himself sculpted it, and the variant, the X-Force version, actually has his head in a different position, so the hair is actually differently. So he actually took time to sculpt both heads and hair, um, paying attention to both, giving them both attention, not just like quickly mass producing crap. Like no, just like carefully sort of figuring out, okay, what needs to go where, and how do I make this unique or distinct from like the variant that I'm putting out. And also like the arms are in different positions. I think the other one, I don't exactly know because I don't have that statue, but the arms are in different positions. So he cared enough to like not just repaint the statue, but give each sort of unique quality. So for those that actually did wind up getting both, like they have two unique statues. I didn't get the X-Force version because I have the Kotobukiya X-Force version, which I don't like as much as this statue, but I do like. It's a good statue. It was sculpted by Eric Sosa, who's a very talented sculptor. Um, the shortcomings of that statue are that Kotobukiya produced it. I like Kotobukiya; they're a good company, but I feel like they don't put in the sort of attention into the production process that they could in order to get out like a final product as impressive as it should be, as meets the expectations of collectors. Given that initially, when we find out these statues are being produced, or like images are being sneaked online, we build expectations. And with Kotobukiya, oftentimes like the quality of the final product doesn't always meet those expectations, and it's not good to be disappointed as a collector. At least in my experience, it has not been a good thing to be disappointed as a collector. And I guess it's just bad to be disappointed in general. It's not necessarily ever considered a good thing, I guess. So anyway, Kotobukiya did produce a decent statue. I have it. I'm keeping it. I like it in my X-Force display. And I also actually got a second one of that statue, and actually had it converted into these colors. That's another one that I'll be featuring in a video coming up very soon. And that one was painted by Robert Guthrie, who did like two or three. He did my Psylocke, which I've posted already online, my X-Force Psylocke. So he did a really good job with that statue. It actually came out really cool. Again, I like this statue better because I just love the overall sculpt, and everything about the statue is better than the Kotobukiya statue. But the custom version that I had painted, I really love because it's just a unique piece, and it came out really nice. And I don't know, it's got like a different presence than this one. And I love James Proudstar, so hey, I'm keeping it forever. It's a gem. It's a gem. Um, all right, so that pretty much concludes this very in-depth look into this very cool statue produced by Bowen Designs. Um, Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for checking out my channel and for checking out my blog. And I have plenty more stuff coming up, and hopefully I'll be able to, provide you with the quality in videos and photos that I'm aiming for. I want to give you guys a good show because I want you to see and feel what I see and feel. I don't just want to kind of throw stuff out there. Um, just for the sake of doing it. I want to actually relay what it is about these statues that is so awesome and would make a person like sort of get 60 or 70 of them or more. Like there's collectors that I mean, although I have a huge collection and I love it, um, I mean, there's so many collectors out there that just eclipse me as far as like the amount of statues they buy and like the impressiveness of their collections. So my hat is obviously off to you guys. And I don't necessarily aspire to be them, but I do have to give them their credit because credit is in fact due there. Anyway, thank you for checking everything out, and I will be posting more stuff very soon. And once again, X in the box, because ain't nobody checking me. I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.